guys, and welcome to your final tutorial in the interactive door and key blueprint. If you're in this tutorial, you should have already set up your door, had the billboard come on when you walk into the collision, and, well, there it is, I was on top of it, and been able to open your door. At this point, we are going to be locking our door. So in order to lock it, we are going to have to create a key in order for our player to be able to pick up a way to unlock this door. So in doing so, you should have already downloaded a key static mesh, and we're going to set up our key blueprint just the same way you typically create a blueprint in your MyBP folder. We're going to create an actor blueprint class. We're going to call this BP_key. I'm going to call mine key 2 because this is the second key that I'm creating. I already created one for my metal door, and now I'm doing one for my red door. And just open that up. Okay, so first we go into the viewport and we begin to add our components here into our blueprint. For the key, you don't need as much. We're not going to make this based on interaction. We're actually just going to pick this up kind of like you did your collectible items or coins. But of course you need to add a static mesh in order to make the key look like something. And I'm just going to go over here and select my skeleton key. It looks like I actually didn't add my skeleton key yet, so I'm just going to do that real quickly. Okay, so now I've added in my second key. This one, for me, it doesn't have a material yet. I'm just going to give it a basic metal from the engine real quick. Let's see. Alright, so this guy looks pretty big. I'm just going to kind of arrange this in a way that I like. Drag it up from the center.
And scale it down so it's not enormous. And obviously maybe some of you have done this already for yourselves, which is great. If so, I definitely appreciate it. And from here I'm going
to definitely add a collision. This should be something that's going to kind of encapsulate the area of the key. A sphere, it looks good to me. I honestly still think this is probably way too big, but I'll have to test it in my level to kind of see. And, you know, you can add a little rotation to this as well. And let's just simulate that. Ooh, I don't really like how that looks. It's kind of far off from the center. I'm going to bring the location back to the center and try it. That's not bad. I'm just going to scale it down a little more and maybe rotate it back normal. Kind of ugly, but it's okay. Now my collision is off. So you really want your collision to be kind of on top of this thing. Alright, I'm going to just test this out in my level now and see how it's looking. Always compile and save, of course. And just like I thought, it's like way too big. But since I only have one of this, I'm just going to put it in my level. Oh no, I accidentally did the static mesh. Where's my... Okay, that's not too bad. Alright, so now I have my second key, but I haven't added any coding to it. So, I mean, it's probably just going to be sitting up there. Just like my other stuff. And it does have a collision by default. Obviously, when we run into this, it's going to disappear just like we picked it up. So let's do the key coding for the key now. It's really simple. The most important thing to remember is to create our variables. So we're going to create a variable for this here key, and that variable is going to be called has key. But we're actually going to store that variable on our third person character blueprint because it's like basically storing our third person character's actions, so it goes on him. So we're going to go back to our third person character blueprint. If you navigate down to the third person, go into the blueprints folder, you should be able to grab that third person character blueprint. And similar to how we created a coin count, we're going to create a variable called has key. Just by clicking right here on this add variable. Remember, this is in our BP third person character blueprint. I'm going to call this has key 2 because this is for my second key. I already created one for my first door. And it's kind of freezing right now. I'm going to spell it correctly. And this should be set to the type Boolean because it's just going to be true or false, whether or not he has the key or picked it up or not. And finally, we need to make this public so that other blueprints can edit this variable, because we're going to have to set this one based on whether or not he picks up the key. So we're actually setting this up in the BP key. Now I'm going to show you how you do that. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my key blueprint for the key I just created. And we're going to do on component begin overlap, so nothing's going to happen until we run into this collision. So I'm going to click on the collision, and then I'm going to add an event called, of course, add component begin overlap for our sphere or our collision. If yours was a different type of collision, whether it was a cube or a capsule, that's fine. It doesn't really matter as long as it fits your item. Okay, so nothing's going to happen until we overlap with our sphere, and the thing that we need to ensure that's our overlapping actor is basically us, the third person characters. So you'll get used to this eventually, but next we're going to do cast to third person character. Make sure it's the correct node. It has to be cast to BP third person character, not any of these. And then you're going to connect other actor to object. So this is just ensuring that whatever overlaps with our sphere is a third person character, and it's also going to set us up to be able to do an important thing that's coming next, which is basically grab the variables that are inside our BP third person character and set them within this blueprint. So casting lets you kind of correspond between different blueprints. Even though they're of a different type of class, we are still going to be able to edit each other's variables if we use this casting system. There are other ways to interface between different variables, but this is one of the most common ones for the beginning. So in order to get our in order to get the variable we just made has key and set that based on whether or not we interact with our key, we're going to use this cast to third person character node, and we're going to pull a string out of as BP third person character. I like to think of this as you're almost impersonating this blueprint in order to mess with the variables inside of it. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and say set, because we're going to reset this variable here that we created, and I'm going to get set has key 2. Okay, so this will let us actually change the status of the variable within other blueprints, which is really awesome. And basically, once you run into this key, you're going to set has key 2 to true by clicking this. This means it is true that he has the key, which is, what we want. So whenever he runs into our key, basically we just set the fact that he has it to true. That's awesome. Now the last thing you will need to do is pretty much similar to your coin, is just pull out and say destroy actor, so that it appears to the players that he's actually picked it up, although we know that it's kind of an illusion. He hasn't picked up anything, he's just disappeared it and set a variable within. So compile and save, as usual, always compile and save, and we're going to test this out. Okay, cool. So I am inside here. I'm going to run into this thing and boom, I picked it up. Now my variable has key should be set to true. However, we haven't set up anything to make this like relevant to our door yet. So this still won't allow us to unlock the door. That will have to go into the door blueprint. Now it is unlocking because we set it to be like always unlocked in our blueprint, so we're going to have to change that in just a second. But ensure that you have your key set up and everything will be smooth. In the next part, we're just going to be basically adding in has key to our door blueprint to set whether or not the door is locked or unlocked, which is a little simple. We're just going to go back into the blueprint we created and make some tweaks to it. So we are going to just edit this door BP so that it locks and unlocks now. So in order to do this, we're going over here to our original interact, and I'm going to make this bigger for y'all. Alright, so just to explain how our door opens again, we have our interact that will be triggered when we press the E key. We're checking if the door is locked. If the door is locked, so see, this is why this right here is the reason that our door is opening even though it's locked. Originally, just to test it out, we had put our true in order, like is door locked true is going to trigger the door opening right here. So now we need to switch this up. We need to basically be able to say if it is locked, we are not going to do that. So we're going to break this link. And if the door is not locked, if is door locked is false, that means it's unlocked. So that's what's going to make our open and close door happen. Now, for the time being, this isn't really giving us any type of status update whether or not we have the key, because there is no way to set is door locked at this time. So we are going to have to use another cast to third person blueprint in order to grab out the variable we just created. And we're going to go back to where we had done the make billboard appear section. And here we conveniently have a cast to third person character after you overlap with our door. So when you walk into this, it's going to check whether or not you're the third person character before you even open or interact and show your billboards. So this is where we're going to set the status of is door locked based off of whether or not we have the key. I'm going to drag a string out of as BP third person character and kind of interface with the blueprints of third person character and get its variable. And this time I'm just going to get has key 2, and I'm going to read whether or not he has the key or not, okay? From there, I'm going to use this to set the value of is door locked, because if he has the key, the door should be now unlocked. If he does not have the key, then it should remain locked. Alright, the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to use a branch. So a branch is just checking the status of whether something is true or false and giving different results either way. In this case, if he does have the key, that will mean the condition is true. If he does have the key, then we're going to set the variable of is door locked. And we're going to set this to no, when he's not locked anymore. So just to go over this again, I'm getting the variable has key 2 from my third person character. Yours maybe just has key since you probably don't have 2 keys. But you're getting that variable you made in the third person character to track whether or not he has the key. Use the condition of that to set is door locked to false if he does have the key. So again, if he does have the key, now the door is not locked anymore. And then we can go ahead and do these things, because now we can basically set our sprite based on this. So now we'll actually be changing our sprite to unlock if this is now set to unlock because he has a key. So what should happen is that our sprite should change if he doesn't have the key, so the unlocked icon, and then also up here where we had done the door opening, which I'm just going to comment real quick. Door opens based on interact. This is also based on whether or not the door is locked here, and because we do the overlap before we interact, it should basically give us the correct status update to the door based on whether or not he has the key. So let's try this out, make sure it works. Alright, so I'm gonna go in here, I'm gonna pick up my skeleton key, which is like this copper key I just made. I have it now, and I'm gonna go back to my door. Where is it? I keep on forgetting where I put this thing. And now what I should see is that the door is unlocked. Ooh, and it looks unlocked. And I can open it. Cool. Awesome. Now one last thing, I have to check what happens if I don't get the key. So this time I'm not going to get the key, I'm just going to try to open my door without the key, and it should be locked. Well, that's weird. Now it's acting like it doesn't want to come up. Did I do something wrong? That's weird. Okay, so I figured out why my billboard wasn't popping up when I didn't have the key. It's because I had done this branch here to check whether or not I has the key, and I only was basically doing the set visibility of the billboard if I did have the key. So I want to go, as my last thing, I need to go ahead and add the false status to this so that, and not to the set, this stays separate, because basically, and I'm just going to clean this up a little bit. Basically, I should now be able to see the sprite and the billboard and based on either one, whether or not I have the key or not. Whether or not I have the key or not, I should have the billboard. It's just the fact that if I do have the key, it is setting the status of is door locked. So, you know, is door locked is false if I have the key. But if I don't have the key, I should still be able to see the billboard. So that's why I had to connect false to here. And I had forgotten to do that. That's why it wasn't coming up. You may have the same problem if you were following me directly. And now it should totally work. Should. That's why we always check. Alright, so I'm not going to get the key this time. I'm just going to my door. And yes, it comes up. It is not opening. And now I can get my key and it should open. Now, the very, very last thing you could do is add some sound effects. I have not downloaded any cool sound effects yet. So, but if I did, right, I would just add play sound 2D. So I'm just going to add the sound effects real quick and get right back once I've downloaded some cool sound effects. As you know, I like to get sound effects directly from this website. It's actually linked to your Canvas page. So if you go here to class resources, you can get the voucher code for this website, copy paste this voucher code, and go here to this website, and then you can put sounds into your cart, make them free, and then check them out. So once I do that, I'll get back to you and I'll show you how to put sounds in. And I just imported all these cool sounds for for my thing, I'm gonna start adding a little bit of them. So I'm gonna add one to my key. So what happens is after I set the state of this key, I'm gonna get play sound 2D, play sound 2D, and I'm gonna click on the one. I got like a key jingle thing. It's being a little slow now. Just a little sound here that will play. I'm gonna also add one to my door opening and closing. So based off of the flip-flop, I'm gonna make one sound for when it opens, which is gonna be, oops, I didn't mean to do that. When it opens, it's gonna be a opening sound. That's a close, that's an open. And then I got one for when it closes, because I like to be very specific with my sounds. So it shouldn't be the same for opening and closing, in my opinion. In my professional opinion, being as specific with the sound design creates a really good player experience and is very important. And so I have a different sound off the flip-flop for it open and close. I wanted to have a sound for when you try to open it and it's locked. So what I'm gonna do is, if he does not have the key, I'm gonna play a sound to like designate that it's locked. And not this one. I forget which one it was. I think it's this one. Just to let you know, you gotta go get the key. And then you should get it, hear the other sound when it opens. Okay, let's check it out. I don't know if you're gonna be able to hear from my system, but let's see. Audio input, display capture. Yeah. Let's see if it will work. And it's really loud out here, so I know you all hear the band, so we'll try to hear this as good as possible. This is our last touch. Okay, I'm gonna go to my door and try to open it. I'm not hearing anything. It could just be my sound settings on my computer. You know these computers are tricky. I'm not getting any sound. Let's see if I have a sound when I open up or when I grab my key. Alright, I heard that sound. That was nice. And now I'm gonna go here and open that up. I did not actually hear the sound, so maybe I need to fix this somehow. But, you know, I'll just have to play with that, the sound. For some reason it wasn't playing. Maybe it's just too quiet. It's really loud in here, so I do have earplugs in because of the band, so probably played and I just couldn't hear it. Anyway, that's going to be it for this series. Once you're finished, you are done with your door system, and you can implement this into your level design however you want to. But good job, and turn this in by creating a nice video recording using OBS, just like I made this video. So good job, guys, and we'll see you next time that I do a tutorial. Bye!